Welcome to Kenya, East Africa. On this episode of One Guy, One World, Two Wheels, or what soon will be known as Motor Rambler, we're out here in the Massai Mara National Reserve taking in some of Africa's finest wildlife. Afterwards, we're going to be heading down into Nairobi where we're going to go on a ride along with the 99ers Motorcycle Club. And from there, we're going to the coastal city of Mombasa. And finally, we're going to fly up to the remote island of Lamu and take in some of the ancient Afro-Arab culture. So come along and join the ride. But first, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Majority of the country is covered by mostly dry grasslands known as the savanna. Sparsely peppered with acacia trees and large shrubbery, this environment helped provide much of the grazing land for large amounts of mammals such as antelope, zebra, buffalo, giraffe, and others, as well as the predators that feeds on these herbivores. And much of human history, this part of the world has been untamed and free of large developed civilizations, which thus allowed so much of the wildlife to thrive. You see, who's out here on our safari.
This is unbelievable. Yeah, he's on. It's right next to our truck. Making whoopee.
I honestly didn't know that we signed up for the X-rated version of the safari.
This is incredible.
Hey Marty, what do you think?
Love it.
Yeah. The best time of the year to visit the Massai Mara is actually in July through October. This is when the wildebeest migration occurs, where millions of wildebeest and zebra cross the Mara River from the Serengeti and into the Maasai Savannah. After spending a few days hanging with Africa's grandest wildlife, we stopped by a Maasai Village that was just outside the reserve's gate.
Yeah.
The Maasai are known to be one of the oldest existing tribes in the world. Here, the tribe's people welcome us with a traditional dance. One of the signature parts of the Maasai dance is them standing in place while jumping up and down as high as possible. Apparently, the jumping signifies the strength and endurance of the men. The higher one can jump, the more respect and admiration, even desire of the women. The tribe has us put on these robes known as shuka and join in with them in their dance. The color red of their shuka that they wear draped over their bodies supposedly helps ward off the animals such as lions and other large beasts that could otherwise pose a threat. I, for one, who was first here in 1998, saw a huge difference when I came back. Today, the Central Business District has grown threefold, with a bunch of new high-rises and skyscrapers. The Jomo Kenyatta International Airport has been expanded. A brand new expressway that just opened up in 2021 that whisks people from the airport into the city. and a new high-speed train that cuts time between Nairobi and Mombasa down from 14 hours to 6.
This is the infamous River Road place up here. It's known as matatus and markets and just out and out craziness.
River Road is a very chaotic hot mess of a neighborhood, which is a major transportation hub for matatus. These are privately owned buses and shared taxis that can range in sizes from a small minivan to full-size long-distance coaches. And with so many matatus around, competition is very intense. The owners do everything they can to get passenger business. So these matatus are painted up and mounted with countless flashy lights. And many inside are like rolling discos with a party atmosphere.
August 7th. Wow, they opened it just a month before 9/11.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, ain't that something?
On August 7th, 1998, the United States Embassy suffered a grisly bombing that killed over 200 people, including 12 Americans inside. This was the first major attack by Osama bin Laden and Al Qaeda on American interests.
Yeah, this place, it's bringing back memories. I don't even have words, not knowing what to say. I was here. I had such a close call. I was at this embassy the day before, and it was the appointment to be back here that Friday morning. An hour before the bombing, I decided to take the last seat of a bus to Uganda that morning, and yeah, it just, I don't even know if I would be here if had I kept my appointment with the IRS that morning or not. 12 Americans died, over 200 some Kenyans, mostly on the outskirts, outside, on the streets, passerbys. Yeah, it was it's definitely a moving experience. Came back a week later from Uganda, and it just, so much emotions are brought up on it. Fear, anger, sadness. Yeah, it's unlike anything I can describe. This was Africa's 9/11, 3 or 4 years before our September 11th.
Here we meet with George, who is both a survivor of the August 7th bombing and now one of the curators of the memorial site.
I was working near Afya Center, which is 200 meters away from this place. The building I was working, it shook. I found myself flat on the floor. It took me like 10 minutes to understand what I have just heard. It was a very big sound. So after 10 minutes, it's when I saw some lighting. I went out of that building. When I went outside, whatever I was seeing was very terrible. Everybody's scampering for his life, and the glasses are cutting people. Everybody's bleeding. So my young brother took me outside the city center. I went back home. Wherever I sat there up to 6 p.m. is when I came back to my senses.
Today, I head out on the Mombasa Road just east of Nairobi where I meet up with the 99ers Motorcycle Club. Founded in September 2013, the 99ers is Kenya's first real motorcycle club. We ride out to the neighboring town outside Nairobi. It is there that I found out that despite the new toll expressway that is going our directions, motorcycles are not permitted. So all the rest of the traffic remains on the heavily congested frontage roads. Although their appearance may seem intimidating, and despite the looks of the three-piece patch and the look of the 1% club, that anywhere else would put them in the crosshairs of law enforcement and possible problems with other OMCs, the 99ers decided to take that appearance and turn it on its head. Instead, they are striving to be more of Kenya's version of the AMA club and more respectable members of society. The 99ers takes us out to a nightclub called the Meat and Grill in the town of Kidinjala, just south of Nairobi.
All right.
Hey, we finally meet. Good to see you. Yeah, right. Huh? Oh, it's great. It's great. Yeah. I felt like I was back home with my guys. It doesn't matter where you are or who you are. The camaraderie amongst bikers is worldwide. Yeah, there may be conflicts with rival clubs. All this is more the exception and not the norm. There tends to be a respect amongst riders that is separate from those everyday automobiles drivers. There's a shared passion that only motorcyclists can relate to, as well as knowing of being exposed to risks and elements that cagers don't endure. One unique side dish that is common throughout East Africa is ugali. This is a very simple staple consisting in cornmeal and water that makes this white pasty texture that looks kind of like mashed potatoes. Doesn't have much flavor, but it's not bad either. I want to thank you for allowing us to come out here. It's been a real honor.
You're most welcome.
And it's been really great riding with you guys out here. You know, just like everything that happens, some people's bikes are down.
Yeah,
it
it
happens, you know. But yeah, it's been the incredible country here.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is a beautiful place. Yes.
So, tell us about the 99ers. When did it start? How did it come about?
Okay, the 99ers MC has been since we created the club. It's been about 10 years. Yeah, so we have an anniversary of this year. 10-year anniversary of this year.
Oh wow!
We still have to make the plans for that. What I can tell you is we started off as riders, riding together, getting to know each other, and we came to realize that we have a lot of things in common. Now, we rode together for 2 years before initiating the club.
Oh great! So you got to know
We
each other.
got to know each other and build trust to create the club together.
We have actually grown in numbers over the years, and the thing you said about the community growing is actually true. A lot has changed over the years. Regulations have changed. Access to bikes has actually become better.
At one point, my bike actually had an issue, so pulled to the roadside. I was trying to figure out how do I get this fixed. Then a random guy saw my patch, my 99ers patch, and actually stopped what he was doing, came to me, told me, okay, I don't know you, but you're a 99er. I know so and so from 99er, so he knew our finance guy. So he's like, let me know what I can do to help you.
You know, the idea, when I first heard the name 99ers, I really wanted to understand what does 99ers mean. And the message was, it's simple. The community, especially the biking community, there's been an image that most of the bikers are gangsters, and you know, all the negative image has been posted on biking. And you know, we unfortunately, it's only 1% that's probably the worst side of the biking community. And the club decided to name the club 99ers because the biggest percentage are good bikers.
We don't have that much experience with MCs before us, and that's one of the things we took into consideration. And it's part of our name, because we're trying to move from the 1% kind of clubs. So we chose to go the opposite route. We do have friction from government regarding motorcycles, but it's not really private bikes, more of the public border kind of bikes. I'm sure you've seen them all over.
You're one of the first 9. Right. Yeah.
We were previously in another club called Cruising Kings.
Oh, okay.
We were there, but some of us didn't like the politics of the club. So we spoke on the side. We talked on how we can get our own club, run things our own way. Yeah, that's how the first name came. I think we're just rebels from another club.
So we also have that spirit, not just as 99ers, but as the Nairobi and the Kenyan bike community, where we take care of each other and take care of other bikers. Being 99ers, and given that we try to do a lot for the community and we are out there, most guys tend to try help us and help support the various causes we have.
So honor, courage, commitment.
I decided to rent a homegrown motorcycle known as the Kibo 250, a simple and inexpensive enduro bike. The company was launched in 2017 in the Netherlands to give Kenyans an affordable means of transportation. We make our way east to the coastal port city of Mombasa. Although Nairobi is now the country's governmental financial capital and one of East Africa's most prominent cities, Mombasa has a long history of being a vital entry point for Kenya's trade. With its natural harbor, it has been a major stopover for the Arab traders who plied the waters up and down the East African coast and all over the Indian Ocean. By the late 1400s, the first Europeans to have come here and set up shop were the Portuguese. Here, they built Fort Jesus as a defensive shield. Mombasa had a lot to protect, like resources such as ivory, spices, and slaves. Mombasa was very much coveted port, and many parties fought over it between the Arabs, Persians, Portuguese, and Turks. In 1698, the city came under rule of the Sultan of Oman until 1837. That is when another sultan from Zanzibar took control, which lasted for about another 50 years until the British came along, while adding most of East Africa to their imperial portfolio. Today, Mombasa still holds a lot of the Omani and Arab culture. Not surprisingly, the seafood here is off the hook. The food overall has a lot of Arabic and East Indian influences, such as biryani chicken with rice and butter naan. It's not every day you get to go for a camel ride on a beach. lot more complicated than people think it is. These three-wheeled motorcycle auto rickshaws, most commonly known as tuk-tuks or motor taxis, are made by the Indian-based company Bajaja. They seem to become more and more popular worldwide as a cheap version of a taxi service. Although they don't have the power or speed of a regular automobile, they are meant for buzzing around on local city streets. And with their tiny wheelbase, more apt for scooters, and a speedy pickup and sudden jerky turns, they feel a bit like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
This is why I took you.
Right. Having fun yet?
Of course I am. Always have fun.
Here in Mombasa, we are at the APDK Children's Rehabilitation Clinic. This was my wife Marty's idea to bring some much needed medical supplies to donate here to the clinic. She meets with Dixon Yagan, who is one of the senior occupational therapists.
Therapy. When you're doing therapy to a kid, you incorporate play in it. So this kid will not see as in you are torturing them.
Yeah.
It's like a play activity. Let's say, for example, we have a kid whose surgery was done on the foot, and we are still trying to recover. There's a difference when me as a doctor, when I go do therapy, most of the time they are very angry, they cry a lot, they say you do. But when you incorporate play, like you get a football
Distraction.
and you tell them to play, just kicking the ball to
I
you.
see.
That's
That's therapy.
That's therapy. So for him, in his mind, he'll be knowing that I'm
He doesn't
playing
know
with
he's
the doctor,
recovering.
but at the same time, he doesn't know that I'm doing recovery on myself.
Good.
The organization has been around for 60 years.
The APDK was founded in 1958 as a non-profit NGO and was the first vocational rehabilitation center for people with disabilities. By 1971, the center went under the direction of the government's Ministry of Social Services as an industrial rehabilitation center. At times, a child whose disability may overwhelm the parents, and with nowhere to go, they may end up leaving them with the clinic. Thus, the ADKP may also serve as an orphanage. Although the APDK may work on making and providing wheelchairs and equipment, there is a real shortage of affordable things, and there's always a need for donations. Although the APDK may still receive some government funding, it is now a non-governmental organization, and its majority of funding is relied on individual as well as international donations. For those who would like to donate, you can go to apdk.org. We head north to the island of Lamu, just under 100 miles south of the Somali border. Between time and security, we took a prop plane up to Manda. And when I say security, I'm talking about the road from Mombasa to Lamu. Because of threats from Islamic jihadists, terrorist groups such as Al-Shabaab, and the threat of banditry, kidnappings, and murder, the road to Lamu is so dangerous that it won't even show up on Google Maps. In 2020, Lamu's airport on Manda Island was attacked and a gunfight between the US and Kenyan military forces battling Al-Shabaab when the military base of Camp Simba was attacked. Today, everything has been neutralized and safe. So believe it or not, this is the very first baobab tree we saw on this whole trip here in Africa. Just getting from our plane on the landing strip, we had to walk about 700 meters out to a pier. There were boats to shuttle us over to the island. Thanks to my wife, we scored this huge Airbnb palace for $150 a night. Wow. It's like a little villa here that we're staying. One thing you will not see in Lamu are cars or trucks. The way to get around is either by foot, donkey, boat, a motorbike. It's just recently that there are now a few motorbikes to get folks around back and forth on the 2-mile trip between Lamu City and Sheila. But with Lamu being a UNESCO heritage site, lately there has been some grumblings about the motorbikes taking away the unique culture of the island. Yet, many of the island's residents have become more dependent on the bikes. As we walk through the narrow streets and the marketplaces, we can see that life here has not changed a whole lot over the centuries. This here is Lamu Fort, where Fort Jesus in Mombasa was built by the Portuguese. Here, Lamu Fort was built by the Amani. So here we are at a police station where we're buying alcohol. Yeah, it's kind of like reminds me of the state stores in Pennsylvania, but this is actually run by the local police, and as you can see, everybody's in here and buying their choice of poison here. Tonight, Marty and the film crew treated me to a dinner at this fine restaurant in the village of Sheila here in Lamu. I was surprised and blown away with this incredible birthday celebration as the staff came out with not just the cake, but a traditional song and dance. Yep, I believe it's safe to say that this is one ride around the mother store that I will soon not forget. 4 trip on a sunset cruise on a traditional dhow. Dhows are these wooden sailboats that for centuries have plied the waters up and down the East African coast, up into the Arabian Peninsula and all over the Indian Ocean. Kenya is such a fascinating and beautiful country. It's a place that's showing signs that it's on a road to economic progress. Now, living standards where signs of middle class is starting to take hold. Yet, it still holds tradition and cultures that goes back to ancient times. A country where it's so rich with wildlife and nature, this is truly a place that most people that come to visit will take home an experience that they just can't duplicate anywhere else. If you like this episode, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel.